Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at 10 different potential Pokemon that could get a Shadow form in the near future, which would be really good for the Great League. There are certain Pokemon that really benefit from having the Shadow form, which you of course see as well in the Go Battle League, and we have some of them here that would be really strong, that are maybe already a little bit stronger than some kind of Pokemon of them, but usually kind of underperform and definitely going to impact quite a bit from the Shadow bonus. Before we start, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Only around 43% are actually subscribed, so it's free. I would appreciate it. Also leave a like while you're at it, and we can move on to the first pick. This Pokemon I put it as the first, not because like the boost itself. Yeah, basically it usually goes like the last one that we're going to take a look at. It's going to be the kind of best and coolest one, but here we're going to start with actually a really strong one already, which is going to be the Sneasel. Sneasel is going to gain an average rating of over 50 here, which is going to be insane for having the Shadow form, especially now with the buff of Aerial Ace as well as Extra, which it has in the moveset. It's going to be a strong Pokemon, but this is supposed to be released, I guess, tomorrow. We don't know yet. It's not announced, but like there's stuff found in the code. There's like stuff found in the I don't know, like what Pokemon you're allowed to use for the Play Pokemon circuit, and basically you should be allowed to use this Pokemon moving on after this next event. So I think it's kind of unannounced yet, but we can take a look at some matchups here that you're going to be able to win in the 0-1s and 2-shield scenario. Of course, you're always going to drop a few as well if you are Shadow. Like, there are only a few Pokemon that don't drop specific matchups in like certain shield scenarios, but here we're going to see quite a lot of decent ones that you can now basically win against. For example, Lantern, most likely because of close combat, now going to knock them out after just a few Shadow Claws, which is going to be amazing. Lickitung in the 2-shield is going to be nice. Superior is, of course, very important in the current meta. Umbreon is going to be nice, Registeel is going to be nice. This Pokemon itself definitely would deserve a higher spot in there. I just want to start off with this Pokemon because it's very likely that we're actually going to get it for the next event, but at the current time, well, at least I'm recording this video, it's not announced yet, so that's basically why, but very strong upgrade if this is gonna get the Shadow forms. Definitely try to get it. For this one, it has to be, by the way, through grunts. If you're only gonna get it through raids, you're not going to be able to get Sneasel for the Great League, so that's also going to be one thing for it. Moving on to the next one, we're going to have Rufflet here. This is a Pokemon that I thought of not putting in, that's why I put it in here right now. It's also, in terms of the upgrade, actually stronger than most of the other ones, as you're going to see here an increase of over 40. But of course it's a Rufflet, like it's not going to actually play like this when you actually play it, because you have Aerial Ace, you have Brave Bird, you're going to have a bait move with that, but actually you're going to have quite a few decent matchups that you're now going to be able to win. For example, Lickitung in the 1-shield scenario, Medicham in the 1-shield scenario, Mantine, Digger's Beam, Deoxys Defense, Cresselia, in the 0-shields, you actually can just nuke away an Umbreon, which is kind of nice. There are quite a lot of decent matchups that you're going to be able to win. This Pokemon would definitely have a little bit more potential with it, because now the Aerial Ace pressure plus Wing Attack is actually really decent for this Pokemon. Unlike, for example, the Noctowl, which I also took a look at for basically doing this video, but decided to not include because it's actually got more like of a nerf. This Pokemon has a little bit more of an attack weight, which is always kind of nice for kind of the Shadow Pokemon. And if you're going to have some spammy moves here, for example, Aerial Ace, it's always going to be a little bit beneficial. Moving on to the next Pokemon, we're going to have Pelipper next. Pelipper is going to be also one of the flying type Pokemon that's going to get kind of buffed by it. Not a huge one. Here we're going to mostly start more by like the reasonable ones. You're going to get an average rating increase of 3 plus winning 1 extra matchup in the 1-shield scenario. Here, for example, you're going to see quite a few more matchups that you're going to be able to win in the 1-shield scenario. But as said before, there are always going to be some kind of matchups that you're going to drop as well. So here, basically, you just see the total wins and total losses. But here you see basically all the wins that you gain. There are some losses that you're also going to take with it, but taking a look at the gains, Azumarill is kind of nice, Cresselia is really nice, Deoxys Defense is really important. Galarian Stunfisk nowadays not that important, but 2-shields basically being able to win against Lickitung, I think you just go straight to Weather Ball, is kind of important as well. So this Pokemon definitely has some more potential, and I think this would be a Pokemon that really benefits from it, because you have like the spamminess of the Weather Ball. Wing Attack is going to be a very decent move as well to do damage against opponents, plus Hurricane as a pressure move is really cool for this Pokemon as well, so Shadow Pelipper would be a very cool Pokemon to have when it ever comes out in the future. Moving on to the next one, we're going to have Kommo-o. This Pokemon is going to be a little bit of an increase, but I think it would be a little bit more of an increase if you actually would play it. The thing is, here right now, you're going to be able to now do definitely a little bit more damage with Dragon Tail as well as the Dragon Claw. By the way, all the matchups other than one, which I'm going to say as well, on the right side is going to be always in the one-shield scenario in the current Great League meta. So that's, if you're wondering which kind of scenarios we're looking at here, that's always going to be the one-shield scenario. So both sides have one shield and this Pokemon performs against those Pokemon then. Here we're going to see a win of 1, but we're going to see an average increase of 40... Not 40, 32 here, but we're going to see that we're going to be able to win against Superior in the in the 0 shields against, in the 1 shield, like against Kofagrigas Frostless, which is kind of nice, and Pelipper in the 2 shields, but in general, in the 2 shield scenario, I guess Pokemon lose a little bit too much bulk for it, so it might be generally worse. There are more, like way more matchups that you're going to lose in the 2 shield compared to the normal one, where Pelipper is the only one that you're going to be able to win, so would be an interesting one though, especially for also Ultra League. It would be a really cool Pokemon. Also, which we can kind of go into then, if you want to see more of this kind of content, feel free to leave a like on the video, but also say which Pokemon you think might be really decent with a Shadow bonus, as well as if you want to see it for the Master League as well as the Ultra League, let me know in the comment section. Would appreciate it as we can move on now with the next Pokemon, going to be another Dragon-type Pokemon here, going to be the Haxorus. Getting access to Breaking Stripe recently makes this Pokemon really strong, but getting access to the Shadow bonus is making this even stronger. Here you see not really a crazy average increase, but you see 3 more extra wins, and this is more what I kind of go for here right now. Because in the one-shield scenario, Durong, Mandibuzz, and Toxicroak are clear wins while you're not going to lose against anything more, as far as I at least saw it there, that you didn't already lose against prior, basically. So you just gain 3 wins and you're not going to lose against anything else by having this Pokemon as a Shadow. Of course, this Pokemon is insanely squishy already, but it's going to help this Pokemon out quite a bit, as you can also beat something like a Pelipper, a Gligar, or the Sableye in the 2-shield scenario, which is really cool for Haxorus, so definitely something that I would look forward to. But there are going to be some crazy increases later on as well. Like you see here some smaller ones, but there are going to be some crazy increases. One of them is actually Tropius, and this is the only exception where I'm not going to take a look at the 1-shield scenario, but the 2-shield scenario, because they're going to take a look at Shadow Tropius with Razor Leaf. I'm not sure, there actually, no, never mind, there actually are already some regional forms that got the Shadow variant, which is like Sock and Throw, so it's definitely possible for them to do this, and as you're going to see here, we're going to see an average increase of 24, and you're going to see quite a lot of meta-relevant Pokemon that you're going to be able to beat now, like Carbink, like Lickitung, like Superior, like Toxicroak, like the Medicham in the 0-shield scenario, which you're not able to beat prior. So this Pokemon definitely as a Shadow variant would be very interesting. Of course, always has like a little bit of a downside, because usually you don't want to have like those bulky Pokemon as a Shadow variant, but a Shadow Razor Leafer that has bulk and has some potential would be really cool. So definitely something that would be strong if we ever gonna get this as a Shadow, which is most likely going to happen eventually. So now we're gonna basically go into the Pokemon that actually going to be really crazy if we're gonna get this as a Shadow. Here we're going to take a look at Primeape. This is still kind of okay, because as you're going to see here, it's only going to end up with an average increase of 50. This is okay for Primeape. It's not going to make it insanely strong or like insanely crazy or whatever, but you're going to win the 0 shields against Umbreon. In the 0 shields, it's usually a little bit worse. I'm actually not running Close Combat here. Close Combat would be better for these simulations, but I feel like Night Slash Ice Punch gives you the best coverage for this Pokemon. But in the 1-shield scenario, you win against Carbink, you win against Frostless, you're going to win against Noctowl, Steelix, Galarian Stunfisk, Venusaur, Trevenant, and in the 2-shield scenario, you're even going to always win against Lantern, which is kind of absolutely wild in my opinion. Plus, you're going to be able to have some neutral matchups against a lot of Pokemon. Having the Ice Punch as a coverage is just really great. Moving on to the next Pokemon, we're going to have, you know, the Toxicroak. Toxicroak is going to be also actually one of the Pokemon that I thought of putting into rank 1 of it. But it is not as great as others, but honestly, look at the increase of this Pokemon if it gets Shadow. Like, honestly, this Pokemon going to be amazing if this gonna get a Shadow boost. Because you see already, you win plus 5 extra matchups. You're going to have Mud Bomb, Sludge Bomb, counter, great moveset on this Pokemon. And just, you always need like this little bit more damage with this Pokemon to really shine. And I feel like Toxicroak would be the only Pokemon that at least I would think might be an option instead of Medicham as a fighter for the Great League, basically. Because in this kind of scenario, you're going to be able to beat Medicham without Psychic in the 0 shield scenario. So if they have Ice Punch, Power Punch, Dynamic Punch, whatever, but not Psychic, you win this in the 0 shields. But in the 1 shield, you're always going to win against Medicham. Against Lantern, you're always going to be able to win as well against Diggersby. In the 2 shield scenario, you're going to be able to win against Azumarill, the Mandibuzz, the Quagsire there, as well as the Swampert, which is going to be amazing for you. You can just counter down the Swampert, which is absolutely wild. And this is the thing as well. here, for the one-shield scenario, you see, like, for example, it gets 5 extra wins by there are only 4 Pokemon on the left side. You're going to be able to win, I think, against both the Lantern with Spark as well as Water Gun, which counts as 2, as well as for 2 different Medicham forms, which are also in, like, basically the sample size for it. So that's why there are less than basically the increase in wins there, but still this Pokemon would be insane if you're gonna get this as a Shadow, and I feel like this is a logical one. Like, I feel like I wonder why we don't have that yet. Like, we have the Drapion, we have the Skuntank, we have all the poison types from this generation already. Why not Toxicroak? Like, I feel like this could be one that's coming soon. This would be a very exciting one. Honestly, would be amazing. Moving on to the second to last one. You most likely saw it on the thumbnail. I haven't done the thumbnail yet, but I think I'm gonna put this one on here. Greninja going to increase massively. Honestly, plus 50 near the average, going up to an average of 544 is wild, and the Pokemon that you're going to be able to beat all of a sudden is even wilder. You're going to be able to beat Bastion in the Zero Shields now, Sableye in the Zero Shields now, which is going to be amazing, because Sableye just going to die to one Hydro Cannon all of a sudden, which it wasn't like dying to before. Toxicroak, of course, you're not with the buff either, but against Water Gun Lantern, you would be able to win the one shield scenario, which is kind of funny as well, like Lantern, electric type Pokemon. Pelipper, Quagsire, Registeel, Umbreon, Shadow A-Slash, of course for Alolan Sandslash, if you were wondering what this is saying, but like this is the usual way to just write it a little bit shorter. We have the Swampert as well as the Trevenant in the one-shield scenario, as well as Cresselia in 2 shields, Mandibuzz, Ninetales with Powders now, like the, of course, Alolan Ninetales with Powders now, as well as the Quagsire. But like this Pokemon would get such an insane average rating increase. Of course, you're still going to lose against the Pokemon that you were losing before, kind of with like Medicham, which you don't really want to face, or the Spark Lantern, which you're even going to lose a little bit harder against. But I feel like this Pokemon, because it's so squishy already, but it can hit so hard with its charge moves, going to be insane as a Shadow. And usually we're gonna get every starter eventually anyway, so it's very likely that we're gonna get the Greninja as well soon. Moving on to the final one, a Pokemon that you might not expect in this rank. But actually, after I saw the normal variant here, I was pretty sure it's going to get an insane amount of increase here. And as you can see here, 13 wins, 28 losses, looks kinda sad, but what you can see here is, you're going to have a Shadow Claw user, you have an Exeter user which got buffed basically. Exeter is now a Surf clone, which you're gonna get there after 5 Shadow Claws, which is like the cool thing about Golisopod over other Bug-type Pokemon. Other Bug-type Pokemon you usually have to go for a little bit more fast moves to get to the Exeter, which is kinda sometimes even a nerf, which you sometimes see, for example, with Beedrill, where I feel like that the Felt Stinger is currently better than Exeter on this Pokemon. But then we have Liquidation, which you can get to very fast as well, which is a hard-hitting stab move. And look at this rating increase. Honestly, you get only around, like, I mean, you get more than 50 here, 52, but you're going to win so many crazy matchups, which is like the wildest thing ever. We're going to see here in the one-shot scenario, you win against the Azumarill, you win against Lantern for whatever reason, you win against Kofagrigus, you have an answer for Medicham with this, you have an answer for Shadow Alolan Ninetales, you have like an answer for the A-Slash, which is of course Alolan Sandslash, you have a counter against Superior, you're going to have a counter against Galarian Stunfisk, Umbreon, Vigoroth. This is basically a core breaker for the current meta in the play Pokemon circuit. Basically, you see in every team Medicham, Lantern, Superior right now, plus Umbreon as well quite often, making this Pokemon insanely interesting if it would come out for the main play Pokemon tournaments, as well as in the 2-shield scenario, you even beat against Registeel, against Sableye, which is very common, Galarian Stunfisk, not that common anymore, but still Umbreon there, Venusaur. This would be an insane amount of upgrade there for like this Golisopod, so definitely one of the ones that I look forward the most, because you basically take a pretty bad Pokemon towards a pretty good Pokemon. And I'm honestly thinking there are mostly some sleeper picks that I missed, so like if you have any idea about potential other ones, let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, let me know if you want to see this as well for the Ultra League as well as for the Master League, and leave a like on the video and check out the ones that you see right now on the screen, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.